Hello, I'm APX3Cat and welcome back to episode 308 of my Minecraft Xbox Updated Adventures Let's Play. This is the Let's Play where I've been playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft on the console, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. You've probably seen a lot of my destruction of the Woodland Mansion lately, and that's because I've been doing a lot of destruction of it lately, and that's been a really fun thing, but I kind of want to keep that as a stream-only project. It seems weird to have like hour and a half, 2 hours, something more than that sessions, destroying it, and then to do it 20 minutes on Let's Play. It just doesn't really feel right. So instead, I wanted to work on another project, which is also kind of big. I mean, not quite as big, but it's still pretty darn big, compared to normal survival stuff. And it's something I can actually probably finish today, and that is my giant netherrack cube. So I might have been working on this last week. In fact, I'm pretty sure I was, but because I ran out of, netherrack, I was just like, well, that's as far as I can go. But I figure, since I'm on this side of the world anyway, why not mine some netherrack and then take it to that part of the world? So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be pretty fun in my opinion. So yeah, now that we're moving away from this part of the world, we can switch our map back out for our Total Fun Dying. That's been there because I've just been terrified that like I'll be 2 hours into a stream, then I'll die and it'll just be all over. So instead, Total Fun Dying, good way to save it. But given that, like placing netherrack isn't that dangerous, although the nether itself is. Oh, and there's a sheep and a I was going to say a duck, but there's a sheep and a chicken in the nether. This is not a safe place for you. This will not go well for you, Mr. Chick. Let's just get ourselves some cooked mutton when they eventually make a mistake. So yeah, let's just mine some netherrack. We'll get a little bit off it, and then we'll go to the overworld too. We also need a bunch of glowstone, because if we're gonna entirely complete, or at least finish the sides and some of the roof, we need to have some lighting for the cube, and then we can get this whole thing done, and it'll be all fine and wonderful. So yeah, looking forward to that. But while we mine this stuff, because we've got a stack on us already, and we've got maybe 10 stacks in the chest, because I did some background gameplay where I just mined some netherrack, because honestly, it's a really fun task. If you haven't ever done this, it's so easy, and if you have a efficiency, I think it's only 4 I've got here, but if you have anything above efficiency 3, I believe it's like instantly mining, which means you can just do this, and it's very satisfying is my point, and you might want to do that. So yeah, with that said, look, we got 4 stacks already. We've been going for like just over a minute or something, and we've already got all this many stacks, because again, efficiency 4, very OP. It breaks your pickaxe quickly, because if you don't know, the pickaxe is actually based on uses, not on like how long you use it for. So breaking netherrack's the fastest way to break it, and obsidian is the slowest way. I know there's loads of weird technicalities you can make when you're like, well, this fact actually means that fact, which means this and that. And one of the things I always used to use this for, actually, because, like, I guess it's like, a consequence of maths is, like, if you change one value somewhere, you change something else, but it's not always obvious, is I always used to be able to do this to, like, oh, yeah, so there's a person here, and I want to make them seem like I can, see their mind. You just, you do the thing where you're like, oh, yeah, think of a number, times it by 2, add 7, do all this sort of stuff. But because there'd always be, like, a famous one, everyone always knew, like, oh, yeah, add 7, remove 14, or, whatever it was. It's like, basic maths to get you to where you started. I would just be able to, like, come up with them on the spot to, like, prove a point and be like, oh, yeah, so you add 9 to that number, and then this and that. I think you've got your original number. Is that 7? I know, it's just one of those things, right? But, yeah, back to what I was saying. Also, interesting, the chicken died, but I guess it's, like, cooked chicken must have gone on the fire. So let's do the same with the sheep here. Oh, we can't do it because he's in a little hole. Anyway, yeah, let's go. Let's get some glowstone now, because we're going to need some of that. And we've got a silk touch pickaxe anyway, so it'd be waste not to. In fact, wait, here's the best way to get glowstone. I think this will be fun. Let's firework onto the glowstone and then, like, sit up there and mine it. This could go horribly wrong. Okay, speaking of things going horribly wrong. Okay, wait, this time? Oh, man, this is very scary stuff. Okay, so it's not as easy as I figured. I've got so many... By the way, in case you're curious why I'm so willy-nilly with fireworks now, now that you get 3 fireworks from a single one, like, I feel like that's changed so much. It's such a tiny change to the game when you really think about it. But in terms of, like, how much that changes, like, my game plan and stuff like that, it really is just like, oh yeah, so now I just don't have to care about fireworks. Because if I kill, like, 1 ghast or, like, 1 creeper every day or something, that gives me more than enough fireworks. Which means I might even, something I've been considering is going and getting the map room achievement. Because the map room achievement, filling up 9 maps, filling up 9 frames, it's so much effort if you do it without, just walking on foot. Or even in a boat, it's going to take you a long time. But I figure, why not use fireworks and just glide around it? So yeah, we'll do that sometime, I think. And that'd be really cool to, like, actually have every achievement Minecraft console. Because the only reason I don't right now is because it's just more effort than it's probably worth. But if it's, like, not much effort, then it becomes less effort than it's worth. And it's going to be cool to do it. So yeah, just in case you're curious, like, future plan for the IBX3Cat mobile. The only other achievement I'm still missing is the llama one, so that'll be fun to get as well. It'd be a great little, like, oh yeah, let's do these 2 things together stream. But yeah, now we've got enough netherrack, I think. Oh, Still not quite, so we'll mine like through one of these walls, because it's fun to have little tunnels that go everywhere, so let's just mine this way. Yeah, basically, in fact, we can mine through the floor and then like just fly down as soon as we hit the ceiling. Sure, let's do that. Let's just see how long it is until we hit the floor, and then we'll fly. Because you know, I'm fearless apparently. In fact, we can even just mine straight down. Okay, not smart, but I am alive. And yeah, basically, it's really fun, like being able to be as reckless as you want, just all the time. It's a very I know I feel like the longer you play a Minecraft survival world, the more you kind of like can get you know, you can be less scared of the threats because you're more and more prepared for them. I've got a totem from dying. I've got the ability to speed away from stuff. I've now got even good food because in the process of doing all of this all of the destruction of the Water Mansion, I've been getting so much good food. It's been amazing, and yeah, that's been a thing. Anyway, so this Let's Play is not just about you know, me talking about Let's Play stuff. It's also where I tell you what I've been up to in the past week or so. And oh, it was a random 4J tweet. But yeah, basically it's also where I tell you what I've been up to in the past week, because a lot of people are curious, like, so what have you been doing? Oh, this is the wrong portal. Let's just fly to the other one. Let's not even go back to the Nether. Whee! But yeah, so we're just going to fly straight to the Netherrack cube, and we're just going to start placing blocks, I guess. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so in the past week, in case you have been curious, I've been mostly working on videos because I am going to be... So the nature of like how I make these YouTube videos on the channel you're watching is I like to do lots of other stuff where I'm out of country, where I can't record videos, so I'm always doing at least slightly more videos in a day than I'm putting out. So I don't know, maybe that ruins the illusion, maybe you don't like to hear that, but oh my god, that was very scary. Maybe that ruins the illusion, I don't know. But my point being is that's a thing I always do. So fun fact, sorry to spoil something if I did. But yeah, basically, so I just have to record a bunch of videos. So I'm in one of these like crazy, just like, you know, every waking moment some days is like, let's Minecraft video this, Minecraft video that, plan for tomorrow's videos. And that sounds like kind of weird and probably like a bad idea on the surface. But like there are some times where I really, really enjoy this. And this past week has been one of those. Like I've been, oh man, I made some videos that I thought were like really, really good, and I'm like looking forward to when they're gonna go up. And I'm also like gonna be doing it for like a good purpose. Like I think I'm staying in the UK for a week, but then I'm like going away. Like okay, you know, I don't actually like camping. I hate camping with a real passion, but I'm going camping because it's like some relatives like wish that their birthday be like a camping trip, and you know, a part of me says like, well, what about I don't? But you know, when it comes to like certain family stuff, you just have to like bite the bullet and say, sure, camping's really, really fun. I love being in the wilderness with none of the things that, because you know, let's be honest, like what we do. Oh wait, I can click block it like that. Let's be honest, what we do as humans is we conquer nature. That's our entire purpose. Like maybe 12,000 years ago, camping was a cool idea because you'd be like, oh yeah, let's do that thing we're doing every day. But you know, nowadays it's more like, how about we remove all these necessities from our life? Like, you know, who needs electricity and who needs hot water? You know, it's terrible stuff. It goes back to the thing I said when I moved into the house and there was no electricity. No, I think there was no internet. It's just like, so what? You know, this is like cruelty. If you did this to someone forcefully, that would be considered like, you know, like a serious act of aggression. And we're going to do this to ourselves. You know, maybe we should get ourselves checked for self-harming if we're all going out into the woods and, you know, ruining our lives. But no, anyway, I don't know if you know, but I don't like camping very much. But yeah, basically I figure like let's give it a shot this time. The last time I think I've only been like twice, and it's been awful both times. But I had like the tiniest tent last time because like that's a thing. This time it's hopefully gonna be something better, and it's just, you know, I feel like you just get that right, and then you're like, I don't know, you got like a phone with internet hopefully, and then you can enjoy as much or as little as you want to. Maybe I'll cook some some marshmallows by a fire. I know this. I've got some maybe plans, and it's mostly just gonna be like a thing you get through. But I'm always excited whenever there's something like that, where it's like, I probably am just gonna want to get through this, but I'm gonna give it my best shot not to. I feel like this is a good mentality to have towards like scary events in your life, to like kind of treat the, you know, the scare of it as like I like to call it in my head. This isn't the right word, but like positive anxiety. Like this is going to be awful. But what if it's not? Let's think of all the ways we can make it even bearable. And I feel like if you do that with like any bad event, you can make it significantly better. Like, so let's keep on placing these, by the way. I feel like pretty much anything can be made better by the idea of like, yeah, let's just believe that it might be good. You know, sometimes you're gonna just find it awful, but like you get along with people, I know, like I feel like that's the whole goal of like a lot of events, and that's my plan for camping. I want to be someone who likes it. I'm not going to be because, you know, I feel like I'm one of the more like tech. I mean, honestly, like I'm here talking on YouTube with my setup and playing video games. But like I like technology a lot, and being separate from it's bad. But I'm gonna try my hardest. I'm gonna, you know, chat. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm so used to live streaming because I've been doing so much this week. But you know, let me know in the comments, like, you know, how can I make camping exciting? Because to me, it's just like let's ruin our lives for a bit. But you know, maybe it'll be the best thing ever, and I'll come back here in like 2 weeks from now. I'm not sure, but maybe that'll happen, and I'll be like, it was actually my favorite thing. But I just don't think so personally. So yeah, basically, let's get inside this place. So yeah, I'm taking. So it's basically gonna be 10 days of not YouTube, and I think again, I just said like, oh yes, I'm going too crazy on the YouTube. I feel like the way I like to like structure my motivation is to always be like really excited about something. Like I've seen graphs of this for like a lot of like artists use this because art is one of these things where I'm so sorry, my voice has suddenly started dying at the middle of the day. But art is one of these things where like the quality of what you put out is way more important than the effort you put in, right? So at least I feel like that's the way. I'm not an artist. I will clarify. Toycat does not draw things, paint things, etc. But you know, if you do make your own art, you do paint your own paintings or whatever, you know, art form you make, then it's a fairly common thing to just believe like, yeah, you need to have the not even just like dedication or motivation, you need to have the passion. Like passion is a serious part of what makes good work as an artist, which is actually kind of interesting on the surface. Like, oh yeah, so it's not enough just to work, you have to work well, which I mean, it's true for everything, but with art you see it the most clearly because, again, like, you know, have you ever seen a bad piece of art? Like, someone probably took a lot of time on that, and it's kind of depressing on some level. Like, oh yeah, so this is someone's, you know, whole day in life, and this is the best thing, and you know, they wasted a lot of their human time on this. But no, anyway, I get sidetracked a lot. I don't know if you know that about me. I mentioned that because, like, I feel like that's how I like to use my motivation. Just like I'm excited and I'm like making all the videos in the world, or I'm just like, oh yeah, let's make some YouTube videos, I guess. Oh, sorry, or I'm like, you know, like let's take a break from that. And I feel like taking a break from anything is the best way to like supercharge your interest in it. Like, if you do anything all day, every day for any amount of time, like I feel like even like, you know, prime ministers and presidents, like, or whoever you believe is the hardest working people, they still take breaks because the human mind can't do the same thing forever. I don't know why this is the case. You'd assume, like, as humans, we'd be really good at, like, oh yeah, I will spend my life foraging for, you know, let's call it meat, because, you know, hunting animals. That is just my life purpose. I'll do it all day, every day until I die. I'll provide my family. You know, that's how you figure it would be. But no, apparently everyone needs a break from something or other. And I feel like taking any form of break is a really good way, as long as you're like, you know, if you're just like, yep, this is unconditional, I won't do anything, then when you come back, you're like, I really want to do this. And I usually have this after I go away from YouTube for a bit. So I'm looking forward to the coming back after that. And also, in the meantime, I don't want to do it too much, but I want to see like how people, you know, respond to the videos. Because I've been making a lot of really cool ones for the time I'll be gone. So yeah, there you go. A secret insight into into YouTubers and having to schedule stuff for advance. Again, a lot of YouTubers, it's really funny because I like to examine other YouTubers' trends. It's like other YouTubers' like plans for this sort of stuff. Because, you know, this is how you learn things. You see what a lot of people are doing. Sometimes it's better than what you're doing, and you take it. This is true for a lot of things. Like, think about ideas. If you want to be, you know, a lot of people just like think of something, and then they're stuck in that idea forever. But the scientific method, the way which we've used to discover all these best things, is to look at your ideas and look at what you have and say, these might be good, but I'd like to prove them wrong. I'd like to see if something is better. And that's how you improve as a person. That's how you improve your ideas. And that's also how I improve as like a YouTuber. Like, oh yeah, so maybe these guys have got something going. And you see some YouTubers who are just like, oh yeah, so I guess I'm going away tomorrow. Better start recording some videos. And I feel like that's not the best idea because then you're gonna like rush every video. And on the one hand though, if like I've always been jealous of YouTubers that can, you know, have a video type of content that they can make 50 off in a day and then be done for a month. Like, if you're popular while still being able to do that, like, you know, that's the dream, right? Just, like, work one day a month and then be done with it. But yeah, because for me, obviously, like, there's all these, like, pre-planning, there's, like, the checking on the stuff, there's the, you know, making sure the world's set up for it. There's all these, like, little steps that mean, like, you know, recording more than, like, you know, a few videos in a day. Even a few videos is, like, taking up my whole day. Whereas I've always been jealous there's like YouTubers that can record like 20, 30. But the reason I mention that is because I feel like the best thing to do when you want to improve at something is to look at others or to look at different ideas or look at different anything and to try and say like maybe this is better than mine. Let's see why it's not, rather than to look at it and say like it's not better than mine and I'm gonna make up some reasons now. Because there's a natural tendency of everyone that you'll see this all the time. I try to avoid people that do this, but it's something everyone has a little bit of. Where as soon as someone like says that, oh yeah, your thing, it's not so great, you immediately jump to defending it like, no, this is the best thing. What are you talking about? You're wrong. That's what that is, and that's not actually a very helpful set of beliefs, because that's just gonna, like if you just cement your own beliefs, then what are you really doing? You might as well not have the conversation, because you're wasting your time. You're just believing something you already believe more. Whereas, again, it's important to be open-minded. And I just figured I should mention that. Maybe it's a valuable lesson. Maybe everyone knows, but that's a thing. So, speaking of like having like conversations where you defend yourself like to the death, I have this a lot actually with friends. Well, I guess with anyone where you're both insistent that something you believe is right. Because again, it's the same thing if like as soon as when you believe something, when it's in your mind, you have some memory. It's hard to believe that someone else's memory or whatever is better than yours. Something like that. So whenever like I have friends that are like, oh yeah, this fact that I just made up on the spot, this must be true. I like to be like, how about we bet some money on it? If you're right, I'll give you £1. And if you're wrong, or like, I always make it like some smallish amount of money, but sometimes it's more like £5 if I'm like actually quite sure of myself. And it's like, let's just do that. And they're like, no. But it's like, you're so sure you're right. Why not get the money? And this is probably one of my most annoying things. Like, I bet there's someone out there like, oh, this toy cat guy, does he not know when to like, when it's a fun joke or whatever? But I really love doing it because it kind of makes you realize that like, because there's a lot of beliefs where if someone does that to me, I'll be like, oh, actually, I'm not, not actually that sure. It's really funny because once you actually introduce like some real loss or gain to it, like there's a reason to be right or wrong, then suddenly people start caring a little bit, and there's something to be learned about that. There's something interesting in that to me at least, and I figured I would mention that because you should do that. I do it. I'm not even right all the time. But I really love it as just like a method of like, how serious are you about thinking you're right? Are you just defending yourself blindly, or do you really believe what you're saying? That's it's the question you always have to ask, and sometimes I'm not even sure what the answer is, even after I've like done the whole thing. But and another thing I was thinking about a lot this week is so the UK is an island. Every now and then it just comes up as like, oh, not everyone lives on like an island like this, because honestly, living in the United Kingdom. So I live in England, which is in the Great Britain, which is in the United Kingdom. You hear a lot of those terms like England, Britain, the UK, the same. But just bear in mind, the country I live in is an island, and then off that island is Europe, which is connected to Asia, which is the largest like continent-sized thing, but it's really 3 continents. Because Africa, Asia, and Africa, Asia, and Europe, I think it's like Afro-Eurasia, you can call the whole thing. They're actually all combined. People always think continents are like these separate landmasses, but all 3 of those continents are actually linked together. So really, it's just one of these things where you say like, oh yeah, so there's a giant continent. Anyway, but most people live on that continent. I think more than half the world's population live on this giant landmass. That the island is like, that I live on is kind of off there. And honestly, it may realize that like some time ago, that would have been crazy relevant. If you think back to, 2,000 years ago, how many boats are crossing that? Like, probably not many, just like military shot. Maybe like 20,000 years ago. Then, there'd be no way to cross it. Like, you crossed it. What? See? I can save myself. But it's kind of crazy that like something that used to be this giant obstacle, it's maybe 20 miles of sea or something, that now is just like, it's not even relevant, because most people, if you want to go anywhere long distance, let's say longer than, I'm going to make up some distance, like 100 miles. Even in America, like, you don't drive from coast to coast. Some people do, but normal people, or not, most people, if you wanted to go from one side of America to the other, even though you can do the whole thing by land, you're probably going to fly it, right? So, in essence, the distance between, I'm just going to make up some cities, LA and, well, they're real cities, but LA and New York, for instance, between those 2 cities, they might as well be separate islands on separate continents, because it's hours long as a flight. And it may realize, like, as we go forwards, like, does it even matter that there's an island here? Is there benefits to being on an island, in fact? Like, oh yeah, so maybe, just maybe, because I don't actually know if islands float or not, or if they're, like, connected to the surface of the ocean. So, you know, this is something that's, it's really obvious when you think about it, that, yeah, well, I mean, that's how landmass works. It's connected to whatever's below the ocean. But I always used to believe as a kid, and I can never quite let go of it, that, like, maybe islands are just these, like, you know, like, a meter thick or something. Like, just pieces of land that happen to be floating, and that maybe, like, one day it will just, like, sink or something. Or maybe the opposite thing will happen. Maybe it will float, like, to the top of the ocean when the world floods, and there'll just be, like, the UK left and nothing. Anyway, this is a silly thought train. But it's just something I think about. Every now and then you have to, like, correct a belief you were told when you were young, either by someone who, like, didn't know better, or just, like, you know, was just going on by themselves, like, you know, this sounds right. Or, like, they were just, you know, playing around with you because it's easier than the truth. And, yeah, it's one of those things that I think about every now and then is like, yeah, I guess, oh. Yeah, we got enough Nether rank, I think. It's every now and then something I have to correct myself, where it's like, oh yeah, when this person said that, that's not the truth. Like, I used to believe for the longest time that, so when you go to the beach, right, yeah, everyone knows the beach, I'm pretty sure. When you go to the beach, there's like, where is, oh, this is the right portal. When you go to the beach, there's like water below the sand. If you dig maybe a meter down, I think it's less than a meter even. But if you dig below the water, the sand, you'll eventually hit water, right? And I used to believe that was because, again, the surface of I just believe that was because the surface of the ocean, the island we're on, was just like, oh yeah, that's when you dig below it, and if you do that long enough, you know, I used to believe that water would eventually just like, you know, take you into sea and you could get trapped down there or something. But that's something that's clearly like wrong and idiotic. But because we learn so many of these things when we're young, again, you have to like correct them because you're not constantly thinking like, was this knowledge wrong? And that's why I believe, honestly, that's why it's good to be, like a cynic, maybe, like a skeptic. Yeah, a skeptic's a good word. But I always like to play devil's advocate, mostly just because it's fun, like with friends. Like, oh yeah, so, but what if that? Like, a lot of my like friends like will hate me if I do this for too long. But I always like to be like, but what if this? You know, like let's not just assume this is true. And I believe that's like a really helpful thing. So yeah, just in case you're curious, if you ever want to like learn more as a person, if you're ever like thinking to yourself like, I would like to be a smarter human being, then I think one of the best ways is probably to be more skeptical about stuff, to think more critically as like, oh yeah, well, is this like that, or is this not? And if you do that a lot, I believe at least, I think that's how I think that's how smart people get smarter. That's why, like, again, people who are scientists are, you know, whatever you believe smart to mean or not. Like, I don't think it affects like your IQ or anything, but I believe that's why these people sound so smart. Because if you're like willing to like sound reserved and say, I'm not too sure about this one, you know, like, you know, because most people aren't sure about most things. Even whichever person knows the most on the world doesn't understand most things that humanity knows. It's a pretty wacky effect, actually. Like yeah, there's all this like sum of human knowledge, but no one person ever knows any of it. We just kind of all work together. It's kind of bizarre when you really think about that one, because like that means that, you know, the amount of, so I said last week about like, oh yeah, if there's only 2 people left in society, then, you know, everything goes backwards. But you got to think about just how backwards it goes. Like, how can you do most things? Like, even if you wanted to get the internet running, because you're like, I really love watching YouTube videos, I'll just watch them all till the end of the day. Then you're like, oh yeah, so I'll just turn on the internet again. How do I do that? Like, because it stops running. If everyone just vanished, the internet will stop running, and you realize like, oh, there are some very highly qualified people that know how this works. I guess I could learn it. So you learn how the internet works, and you get that running, except there's no electricity. So you have to learn how to operate a power station. You know, this is like years of training, or, you know, months if you're really dedicated, let's say. So you learn how to get that working. It's in a giant grid though, so you need to like learn how to detangle it from the grid, something that like humans don't realistically have to do. So, you know, you're learning all this like specialized talent, and then you realize like, oh yeah, well, you know, like my computer, because of all this sort of stuff, it's not going to run correctly because, you know, like a localized internet doesn't work. So then you figure, you know what, I'm just going to go to the YouTube servers and I'm going to take their YouTube videos and I'm going to watch them from there. I'm going to watch Toycat's Let's Play because, you know, I'm the last human on Earth, or one of the last two humans on Earth. So I'm just going to watch Minecraft, you know, Let's Play videos. That's what I do, of course. But, you know, if that's your thing you're into, then, you know, you'd be like, yeah, I'll find them all. I'll just download his videos from the servers. Like, okay, I don't need internet, I don't need electricity. I've got this portable machine and I've got enough batteries to last me forever. Boom, see, I just circumvented you, Toycat. But then if you go to the YouTube HQ and you're like, I'm going to go to their servers. First of all, you know, where is their HQ of the servers? They have, I think, 5 copies of every YouTube video in the world to make it easy. But, you know, so you got to find like one of those 5 places. It's probably not too hard, but guess what? You can't Google it. So you're going to have to like guess. I mean, if I had to guess like right now without knowing anything, it's probably like San Francisco. Actually, if it's a data center, it's somewhere outside of San Francisco, like, you know, just some giant place. I'm sure I could find it if I had like a plane or something. So you'd find their giant data center, right? You're like, yeah, I'm going to watch YouTube videos now. I'm just going to download them. It's going to be great. Should we finish these last 2 blocks too? Yeah, let's do it. It'd be nice. So you're like, yeah, I'm going to download all their YouTube videos because I found their server room. Well, then you realize that like they have, I think it's exabytes. So if you get 1,000 terabytes or 1,024, it's a petabyte. And I think if you get 1,000 petabytes, it's an exabyte. And I think there's like a level up from that the YouTube storage is. So that can't transfer to your USB stick easily. And even if it did, even if you're like, oh yeah, I found, you know, there's a section in there's a little folder called Toycat's Minecraft videos. And then you're like, oh yeah, so I'll just watch those. Except what format are they stored in? They're stored in something, I assume, proprietary, like, at least internally they have to be stored in something like that. And then you're like, so how am I going to watch this? I'm going to have to Google it, can't Google it. And you just, I think there's like an interesting thing of like, yeah, as it's weird how much we build on like just assuming someone else knows something, and I think it gets more and more and more as we like get older and stuff. Like I didn't understand how so much of house stuff worked. Like, you know, like how are like cookers installed? Like how do they get their gas supply or the supply? Like you have to learn that stuff, and you don't even need to learn that stuff. But like I feel like, you know, 50 years ago you just do that yourself. But nowadays it just doesn't make sense. Like you don't have the time to learn just this brand new skill just to do one thing. And there's something that just made me realize, like, oh yeah, this is going to have some interesting ramifications, isn't it? So yeah, this is the Netherrack cube, pretty much complete. I could do like another few blocks from the top, and I'm kind of enjoying talking, so I think I will actually. So I'll just try and get that up there. Oh, wait, let's do this. There we go, up to the top. Let's do another layer end, because I don't want to stop yet. Sometimes it's just that, you know, the Let's Play episodes, like, I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's a good ending. But sometimes it's like, but no, I want to finish my thought. But yeah, going back to what I was saying then. So yeah, something I've always found at least slightly fascinating is the idea that like we're getting so specialized. That's why everyone, you know, like I watched this, I heard this from a YouTube video, so I could be wrong on this. See, I'd be willing to compromise on my beliefs, but as I understand it, like the reason everyone has such a complex job title. Like even you know, when you go to Subway, they're not called like sandwich makers. They're or like whatever you'd call them, like people who do basic thing. They're called sandwich artists. So like sometimes people are like operations executive manager assistant, or like, you know, assistant to the regional manager, whatever it is, right? All these titles that are like so complex. And the reason to that is because, like, you know, we get like so and so specialized, and it just makes me realize like the more we do this, the more we're kind of like making it so we can't do anything. Like again, when the apocalypse happens, there's only you and one other person on Earth. You know, watching those YouTube videos is going to be tricky. Doing anything you do right now and enjoy is tricky. Like even getting like clean water, like I wouldn't know how to do all this sort of stuff, and without Google, I wouldn't even know how to. I wouldn't even know how to look how to begin. Because, like, what, I go to a library and I find a book called How to Restart the Water Supply. And that's just something funny I was realizing recently. And yeah, that's me out of Netherrack. Oh, one more stack as it turns out. Let's use it. So, yeah, it was just one of these things that I think about from time to time. Because, again, the apocalypse scenario is something I feel like a lot of people like to think about. Personally, I like it a lot. See? Elytras are handy. It's replaced the water bucket in terms of, like, its usefulness. But yeah. As you can see right here, Netherrack cube, entirely finished. I did another pretty insane project. It's done now. The inside of it still has to be finished. I do know that. But now from the outside, I've got like these 2 blocks right here. And just as a fun fact, the texture on the netherrack and cobblestone is exactly the same. I'll show you really closely. Again, let's just do this before we go. It's exactly this. Oh no, it's not netherrack, it's endstone. Well, that was a non-fact. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, where I tell you things that aren't true sometimes. Hopefully you think about your beliefs and you think like, maybe there's a chance they're not true. No matter how ironclad it is, it's always worth questioning at least. Even if you immediately dismiss it and go, no, probably not. It's always at least having the conversation with yourself. And I believe that's what makes smart people sound smart. I believe so, but I don't know for certain. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Like if you liked it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here. I've got a new episode every Monday, because it's Let's Play Monday. And I guess I'll see you next time. Goodbye.